Now that you're familiar with the basics of QGIS Desktop, you'll add some data collected with Fulcrum. This data represents locations of skilled nursing staffs collected by some community mappers in Hawaii. Since Fulcrum allows you to download the data as an Esri shapefile, adding it to QGIS is quite simple. Simply download the data, unzip the file, and add it to QGIS as you've done in Task 2 of this lab. Instead of repeating that procedure, I'll use this opportunity to show you how to create points from coordinate data in an Excel spreadsheet. There are several reasons for doing this. It presents a great opportunity to introduce you to working with tables of information in QGIS. Additionally, despite the fact that Fulcrum conveniently lets you download the data as a shapefile, there are other data collection apps that do not, such as iForm and ODK Collect. Therefore, it's not uncommon to receive coordinate data in a spreadsheet, and it's very useful to know how to work with it and create points from it. In fact, two of the download options from Fulcrum are CSV and Excel. So with that introduction, here I have QGIS Desktop open with the project as I left it at the end of Task 2. The Excel spreadsheet data provided by Fulcrum first needs to be converted to a CSV file. QGIS provides several tools for adding different types of data to your map. The Add Vector Layer button can be used to add shapefiles, as you saw in Task 2. It can also be used to add an Excel spreadsheet. So to begin, I'll click the Add Vector Layer button. I'll keep the source type at File and click Browse. This opens the Open an OGR supported vector layer window. I'll set the filter in the lower right corner to All Files. I'll select the Skilled Nursing spreadsheet and click Open and Open to add it to QGIS Desktop. The data has a table icon next to it in the Layers panel. To convert this to a CSV file, I'll right-click on it and choose Save As from the context menu. In the Save Vector Layer As dialog, I'll choose comma-separated values as the format, and I'll click Browse and navigate to my project folder and name the new copy. I'll click OK, and the CSV version of the data table will be added to QGIS. I can preview the CSV file to familiarize myself with the data structure. To open it within QGIS, I'll right-click on the Skilled Nursing layer and choose Open Attribute Table. I need to know which column contains the x-coordinate and which has the y-coordinates. I can see them here. Now that I know which columns have the coordinates, I'll close the table. Now I'll use the Add Delimited Text Layer option to map these data. For the file name, I'll browse to the CSV file. I'll keep the layer name as Skilled Nursing, and I want to make sure that CSV is the delimiter. The window below provides a preview of the parsed file. By default, QGIS seems to be reading the file correctly with column headers. If not, I can use the number of header lines to discard to adjust how QGIS is parsing the file, but I'll keep that at 0 in this case. Then I'll choose the X and Y fields, and QGIS has identified the longitude and the latitude as the XY fields correctly. With that done, I'll click OK. I get the message that the CRS was undefined, so I'm going to right-click on this layer, go to Properties, and go to the General tab to review the CRS. When QGIS doesn't know the CRS of a layer, it defaults to EPSG 4326 WGS84. In this case, that's correct, so I don't need to change anything. I'll just click OK to keep those changes. The data shows up as a temporary point layer with all the attributes. To save it as a permanent shapefile, I'll right-click on the layer and choose Save As. I'll set the format as Esri shapefile, and I'll browse to the lab data folder to name the output. With that done, I'll click OK, and the new layer is added to QGIS. I've successfully created a permanent mapped layer of the fieldwork. I've disabled the original Skilled Nursing layer so that only the new shapefile version is enabled. You'll style and label these new points according to the lab. So in this lab, you learned the basic layout and functionality of QGIS Desktop. You saw how to add, style, and label layers of information. You also learned how to bring data collected from the Fulcrum app into QGIS and map the points.